Hello and welcome to the Aussie Football Passport, your one-stop pod for updates on your favourite Aussie men and women who are playing their club careers abroad. I'm your host Alex, and each week I will take you through the men and women getting minutes, influencing their club's season with their performances, so you will know who will be in the running for the Matildas and Socceroos squads in upcoming internationals. All right, we've got plenty to get through this week, so here are the headlines. We have confirmation of Nicholas Milanovic's move to Aberdeen, both his new club Aberdeen and his former club, the Western Sydney Wanderers, have announced the news. So a big congratulations to Nicholas, and we look forward to covering his journey in Scotland next season. There was both Silverware and Heartbreak for our Matildas abroad. Daniela Galic's FC Twente became the first women's team in Netherlands to win the domestic treble with their 3-2 win over AZ Alkmaar in the Dutch Cup final. In France, Ellie Carpenter won the Feminin Ligue 1 with Lyon in France as well. They beat PSG 3-0 to confirm that league title. There was, however, heartbreak on the other hand for Winona Heatley and her side, FC Nordjylland, as they went down 1-0 to Fortuna Hjørring after extra time in the Danish Cup final. So commiserations to Winona there. Moving over to Germany, well, our Socceroos will be in the Bundesliga for another season yet as St. Pauli stayed up despite a 2-0 loss to Bochum on the weekend. And if you believe the transfer whispers, Jackson Irvine and Connor Metcalf, our current Socceroos pair at St. Pauli, could be joined by a couple of other Australians. The rumours are that Noah Botic and Nectar Triantis may be joining them, so we will keep you up to date if either of those moves happen. Martin Boyle re-signed with Hibs for another year, which is great news for both him and the club. He had a personal best season, registering 20 goals and 11 assists in all competitions. In the second division in Scotland, Livingston won their promotion playoff first step with a 2-0 win in both legs over Partick Thistle. Of course, we've got Ryan McGowan and Tete Yangi, who is the younger brother of Kasuni there at Livingston. So how it works is they came second in the second division of Scotland. Hopefully not too many seconds there. And they will now play off against Ross County, who came third last in the Scottish Premiership, to play off for the final place in the Scottish Premier League for next season. So a bit of a Socceroos derby there, of course, because Ross County is the home of Josh Nisbet. Moving over to Portugal, and this is a bit of a left field one, but Anthony Carter, he won promotion to the first division there with his club Elvercha. They beat Portimonense 2-1 in that playoff. So congratulations to Anthony there. There was heartbreak in the Netherlands, however, as Cameron Pepignon's ADO Den Haag lost to Telstar 2-0 and 1-0 in their bid to be promoted to the Dutch top flight. So commiserations to Cameron there. There were national team announcements this week. If you saw the headlines, we'll kick off with the Matildas and a couple of notable inclusions there. So Amy Sayer, she returned for the first time to the Matildas squad in almost a year. Of course, she did suffer the ACL injury last year, so it is great to see her back. Jada Wyman is also back in the squad after a long-term injury, and she will be joined in the keeping ranks by Megan Aquino, who also earned a recall after her strong form in the United States of America. Speaking of Northern America, well, Carly Johnson gets her first call up to the Matildas squad. Of course, she has previously played for the junior Matildas, but she is currently at Calgary Wild in the Canadian top division. So congratulations to Carly for her making the squad. Over to the men, Tony Popovic named a 23-man train-on squad for the Socceroos, and of course, many contention points, but let's go through a couple of the recalls here in terms of Ryan Strain, who made the Socceroos this time last year. So a little bit of a spell between call-ups. Keanu Bacchus, He received his first call-up since October last year, so congratulations to Keanu. Max Ballard, he is in the squad again, and he'll be pushing to earn his first ever cap. He has been in several squads now, but is yet to earn that first cap. So fingers crossed for Max. He's had an outstanding season in the Netherlands. Riley McGree is a bit of a surprise call-up, but it is good to see him fit again. He has had a very injury-hit campaign with Middlesbrough in the English second division. Jack Iredale, he is earning his first call-up to a Socceroos squad after a breakout season with Hibs. Of course, he did come through in Western Australia and however, was born in Scotland, so yet another Scottish link to the Socceroos, but it will be good to see if Jack makes the final cut for the June international window. Now, the son of a gun, Paul Ocon Engstler. He is the son, of course, of Paul Ocon. Surprise, surprise. He has received his first call-up to the senior squad after an impressive season, should I say, with Benfica's second side. Of course, they play in the second division in Portugal, and they usually play the youth players or players coming back into the first team fold there. So great to see him. Of course, we do remember him from his excellent performances for the young Socceroos as they won the under-20s Asian Cup earlier in the year. And to top off Nicholas Milanovic's big week, he got his first call up to the senior squad. So very big news there. On the other side, we have not seen the inclusion of Nestori Irankunde yet again, despite starting to get minutes regularly in Switzerland, mind you, probably not as much as Tony Popovic would like, and hence probably why he is not in the squad. So that is the headlines for this week. We will move on to the weekly wrap shortly. Weekly wrap time. And for the women, of course, we did see the closing out of the WSL last week. So it is a bit of a shorter wrap this week. But however, let's jump into it. And let's start off in the US&A with Caitlin Torpey turning out for Portland Thorns. She played the full game in a 4-1 loss to Houston Dash. Unfortunately there, of course, Portland missing Mackenzie Arnold in goal there. Courtney Vine is starting to get some minutes for North Carolina Courage. She got 23, in fact, in a 2-0 win over Chicago Stars. So that is great news for Courtney. Moving on to Alana Kennedy, turning out 65 minutes for Angel City in a 2-0 loss to Bay FC, unfortunately there. Of course, mentioned in the news headlines, Ellie Carpenter, she got the full 90 minutes in Lyon's 3-0 win over PSG. She did also manage an assist in that one, so well done, Ellie. Now, Michaela Trosnik, she got 65 minutes in Sturm Graz's 1-0 loss to First Vienna in the Austrian top flight. As mentioned earlier, Amy Sayer, she earned a recall to the Matilda squad. She got 72 minutes, and Remy Simonson got 18 minutes in Kristianstad's 4-1 win over Norrköping in Sweden. So that is the women. Let's move over to the men, and there's plenty to get through, as in Scotland there was midweek and a weekend fixture there. So let's start off in Edinburgh with Hibs, and Nectar Triantis played 90 minutes against St Mirren in a 2-2 draw before completing 78 minutes in, guess what, another 2-2 draw against Rangers. So you'll definitely see a bit of a scoring pattern in some of these games here. So I can assure you it's not fake news. It is true. Lewis Miller, he got 90 minutes for Hibs against this in the St Mirren fixture in midweek. Missed out in the squad against Rangers. Jack Iredale, he got the full game against St Mirren, but was subbed off in the 93rd minute against Rangers. So hence probably why Jack got the call up to the Socceroos squad. Now, moving over to Ross County, Josh Nisbet got 65 minutes in their 1-1 draw against Dundee before backing it up with a full match against Motherwell, which, again, here you go, ended in a 1-1 draw. In opposition for Motherwell, Johnny Katrumbis played the full game, of course, on return from suspension there, so working his way back into the good books with the gaffer. Now, let's head back to Edinburgh, doubling back on ourselves. And at Hearts, Callum Neuenhoff, he played 20 minutes in their 2-1 win against St Johnstone and 67 minutes in their 1-0 win over Kilmarnock. Of course, he was joined by fellow Australian Cammy Devlin, who got the full 90 minutes in both games. So congratulations there, lads. Finishing out the season strongly. And of course, Hearts do have a new coach to look out for next season. So hopefully they continue to get minutes. Now heading to Dundee, and Ryan Strain played the full game for Dundee United in their 3-1 loss to Rangers in midweek before playing a full game in Dundee United's 2-1 win over Aberdeen at the weekend. And that win was enough to get Dundee United qualification into Europe for next season. So congratulations to Dundee United there. Now let's head off to France. And Matt Ryan, he made 3 saves on his way to his 6th clean sheet of the season, of course, after a mid-season transfer from Roma to Lens. They, of course, went on to beat Monaco 4-0 in that game. And, of course, that was the final game of the season in Ligue 1 for Matt Ryan and, well, for the whole season or competition in France there. So let's move next door to Italy. Alessandro Circati, he made his return finally for Parma, and they pulled off an incredible result, holding table-topping Napoli to a 0-0 draw. And that is fantastic news. Alessandro Circati was a standout in that one. Moving over to Croatia, and Fran Karacic, he played the full game for NK Lokomotiva in a 1-1 draw with Dinamo Zagreb in Croatia. So pushing his case to continue in the Socceroos squad. Now to Greece, and Jason Davidson continues to play well for his club Panathinaikos. They went down 1-0 to Levadiakos there. So this call-up, he got a call-up, I should say, to Socceroos. He has been getting consistent minutes there. And, of course, we do know he is a Tony Popovic favourite son. Now, Paul Iso in Denmark, he played a full game for Randers, and Mo Toure got off the bench for 16 minutes in a 4-0 loss to Copenhagen there. So a bit of a difficult afternoon for them. Over to Switzerland, Nestori Irankunde, he had a big week. In midweek, he scored a wonderful goal for Grasshoppers in his 32 minutes on the pitch against Verdon Sport. They won that game 5-0. He then backed it up on the weekend with 29 minutes in their 2-1 loss to Sion there. So unfortunate way to end the big week for Nestori, along with his exclusion from the Socceroos squad. Now over to the Netherlands, and Max Ballard's NAC Breda, they narrowly escaped relegation in the Dutch top flight. The 1-1 draw against Willem II, they're helping them out. So a lucky call there for Max. To Spain and the second division, Mabil, he got 90 minutes for his club side at Castellon in their 1-1 draw with Eldense. In Austria, Jed Drew turning out for Heartbreak. He was a halftime sub, in fact, in their 3-2 win over WSG Tirol, and he capped off a great performance with a goal there. So hopefully that puts Jed firmly front and centre in his gaffer's mind, and he continues to get good minutes there. Jumping back to Italy, and Aden Frustic had a wonderful midweek game. He scored an absolute brilliant free kick for Salernitana as they went on to beat Cittadella in Serie B. Great stuff from Aden. In the US&A, our men had a big week again, another country where there were midweek and weekend fixtures, and we'll start off with Aidan O'Neill playing for New York City FC. He got 45 minutes against DC United in a Socceroos derby there. That was a 0-0 draw. And, of course, for DC United, Kai Rolls was playing, and he got the full game. Aidan O'Neill backed it up on the weekend with 90 minutes in the New York derby, so of course against New York Red Bulls, and New York City FC went on to win 2-0, largely thanks to Aidan O'Neill, some would say, but some would probably disagree as well. So moving down to Nashville, the capital of country, and Patrick Yazbek got 89 minutes and a goal in a 2-1 win over New York Red Bulls in the midweek fixture there. So well done, Patrick. He backed it up with 45 minutes in a 0-0 draw against DC United. And Kai Rolls also got 45 minutes there in that one. Now, moving over to Cincinnati, and Brad Smith, the former Socceroo, he got 58 minutes in a 1-0 win over Vancouver in midweek there. No minutes on the weekend for him, however. Now, down to Real Salt Lake, and Ariaf Piol, he got 58 minutes in a 0-0 draw with Portland Timbers. And Jake Girdwood Reich, the former Sydney FC man, now playing at St. Louis, he got 9 minutes in a 2-2 draw with Sporting Kansas City in midweek, and then backed it up on the weekend, I should say, with a full game in a 3-0 loss to Minnesota United. Now let's jet over to Japan, where we had a couple of Socceroos in action. Thomas Deng turning out for Yokohama F. Marinos. He actually got 81 minutes, but he came off the bench in that one due to an injury. However, it was a bit of a sad afternoon for Thomas and his fellow Marinos in a 3-0 loss to Kyoto Sanga there. Now to Makeda Zelvida, and Mitchell Duke. He got 22 minutes off the bench in a 3-0 win over Kashiwa Reysol there. Now, the final Socceroo in Japan, Jason Guerrier, and playing for his Albirex Niigata, got the full game in a 2-1 loss to Fuji Okayama. All right, so that is the weekly wrap. Let's head over to our players of the week. All right, players of the week. And our women's player of the week was a lot easier to pick than it was last week, let me tell you, not only because of the smaller player pool that we had to pick from, but also because of one standout performer this week. It was Aoife Colville, who scored for her side Standard Liège in a 2-2 draw with Club Brugge in Belgium. Unfortunately, that performance wasn't enough for her to get a call up to the Matildas squad. However, with the new coach on their way, I'm pretty certain she will be in with a chance of getting a call up sooner rather than later, especially if she continues performances like that. So congratulations, Aoife. In terms of the men, well, you've probably already guessed it, unless you've fallen asleep or have switched off the podcast. But there were plenty of goal scorers that I must admit to pick from this week with the men. But of course, it was Martin Boyle, who is our men's player of the week. He celebrated a big week, of course, with that contract re-signing. He scored his 19th and 20th goals of the season across the two games, and he also managed an assist in that Rangers game. So well done, Marty Boyle. And I do want to stress that we're not playing favourites with Boyley there, but well done again. All right, that is it for another week on the Aussie Football Passport. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please make sure you like, subscribe, comment on the pod. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and YouTube as well. And our social media pages are on Facebook, X, and Instagram. All right, thank you very much for listening, and I will catch you next week. Goodbye.